me just introduce myself. I'm Marlies, and then Karen is also, you've heard her. She's my sister and business partner. She'll be there in the chat, and if you have any questions, you can ask her, but she's there assisting me. For those of you that don't know us, so we're the owners of Violin Brain Training and also the Study Method Hub. So our business is focused on helping children develop cognitive and executive functioning skills, and then we also look at developing other critical skills children need for them to become independent learners, and that is what we do at our Study Method Hub. Now, Karen is a teacher, and I'm actually a registered nurse, but from way back when. So yeah, so that's just a little bit about us. Karen's got 3 boys. I've got a daughter. She's now 3rd year. And then, yes, we're both working moms. Yeah, this is what we do, and this is our passion. So the reason that I think tonight's talk, why we decided to give the talk that the topic is the skills children need to become independent learners, because most of time when we speak to, sorry, I'm just admitting people, so if I'm looking away, as most of the time as we as our children gets older, sorry guys, just lots of people coming in now. As our children get older, it's important for us to teach them different skills, and everything I'm going to talk about tonight is skills that must be taught to our children. So lots of the time we don't think of it as much. I'm going to break some of those skills down a little bit more so that you understand it, because it comes more naturally. But if we look at our kids today and what is expected of them academically, the level is so much higher. Now, I don't want to give my age away, but when I was in school, it was still sub-R and sub-B. And in sub-R, we started to learn how to write and recognize numbers and things like that. But for our kids today, I mean, they're 6 years old, they can write and they can count and they can, I mean, it's just amazing what kids must be able to do. So it's important then for us to look at all the other skills they're going to need for them to become independent students. So we have to teach them these skills on a much earlier age than what it was previously needed. And some of the skills I'm going to talk about tonight actually in the brain only, or the brain processes only develops later on. I don't know if you knew, but the brain is only fully developed at the age of 25. And some of these skills I'm going to talk about tonight is only developed at a later stage. But now it's important for us to help our kids from as young as 9, 10 years old to start developing these skills. And that is why parent involvement is such an important factor, because it's something that parents must be aware of. So that when you have the chance, and there is a chance for you to teach your child something, that you are aware of it. So let's just go through some of the skills that children need to become independent learners. So if I say independent learner, first of all, most people will say, okay, children must know how to study. Yes, that's important. So at the bottom right, you will see study strategies is only one of the critical skills children need in order to become independent learners. So we mustn't only focus on do they know how to make summaries, and do they know how to use different memory techniques? We also have to look at some of the other skills that they are going to use. So I'm going to go through all of them tonight, some of them more in detail and some of them just a quick mention. But let's look at the skills. So the first one, it's reading skills. I'm just going to read them and then we can start. So reading skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills, organization, note-taking, self-motivation, problem solving, research skills, digital literacy, curiosity and collaboration. They need good communication skills. We need to teach them to be resilient, and then self-assessment, and then study strategies. Now, all of these are skills, and we have to teach them. So let's look at the first one, which is reading skills. Now, in the news lately, you would have read a lot about the Minister of Education talking about the reading comprehension of our children and how bad it is. Well, I can tell you, I've been presenting study methods for the last 11 years, and the results that came out about reading comprehension and how bad it was or is for our children didn't really surprise me, because I've seen it for the last 11 years that the reading comprehension is a big challenge, and we have to look at ways how we can help our children improve their reading comprehension. So if we look at reading skills, so first of all, they need to be fluent readers. So I wouldn't focus as much on reading fast. So lots of people are focused on my child can read very fast. But I want to ask you to just do a little practice. I'm going to give you a little practice to go and do with your child. Give them a paragraph of one of their schoolwork, a paragraph, one of their subjects. Ask them to read it through and then ask them to tell you back what they've just read. I can promise you, most of the children will not be able to give you a good explanation or will have very good comprehension of everything that they've just read. And this is one of the things that we teach children when we do our skills development course, is teaching them how to become readers read with comprehension. Now, it's important because, especially for learning, but then it's important because they need to comprehend and understand the text. If they can't do that, they're going to struggle. Sorry, I'm just admitting people as I go. So they're going to struggle to understand the work, and then they're also not going to be able to recall the information. And it's also important to understand, have a good reading comprehension, to understand instructions. Now, lots of children, especially from grade 4, when they start with more formal test and assessment, struggle a lot because they don't have a good understanding of different type of instruction words or the way questions are being asked. So reading comprehension is definitely a skill that we need to focus on to see how we can help our children to read with more understanding. So my tip for you with this is to get them to read a paragraph to you, ask them to tell you back what they've read. If there's a certain word in there, ask them, do you know what it means? And ask them to explain it to you. And don't think it's the most difficult words. It can be a word as a word such as profit. What does profit mean? So production. What does sophistication mean? Words like that. So it's a very nice exercise to do to identify on your child's reading comprehension. Because, you know, when they study, I always tell parents, we've got 3 types of learners: the readers, the writers, and the ones that wait for mom to get, or dad to get home to help them. So you can do that exercise to see what your child's reading comprehension is. Then it's important to go back and explain to them on a level. I always say, explain it as if you talk to a 5-year-old, and then ask your child to tell you back what the meaning is. So we have to be very aware of the words our kids do not understand. One of the skills I didn't put in here was, just as I was talking now, thinking about it, it actually goes together with reading skills, and the next skill I'm going to talk about, note taking, is listening skills. So listening skills, and again, also listening with comprehension, that's also one of the skills that our children struggle with, and we don't focus enough on to tell them, but what does it mean to be a good listener? So there's a difference between listening and hearing. So hearing is when you only hear sounds, but listening is when you actually comprehend and understand and is able to make visual images of what you are hearing. So we have to make our children aware of what it is to be a good listener. So you can tell your child when he goes to school, in class, to become more aware of what the teacher is saying by thinking about what the teacher is saying, thinking about the content, making mental images. Then we're also working on the critical thinking. You know, it's not just sitting there and hearing words. It's actually starting to try and understand and comprehend what was said in class. So how can you as a parent help your child do that? So when you pick them up from school in the afternoon, you know what we all ask our kids? How was your day? It was great, Mom. What did you do in school? Nothing. Did you know they do nothing at school? And all of them, we all do the same. We all make the same mistakes. But now you are going to be more aware. So you're going to ask your child from now on, okay, remember you have to tell them what it is to be a good listener, the difference. And now you're going to tell them, okay, ask them, what did you learn in Afrikaans or English or natural science? What did you learn today? And then ask more questions related to that subject, even if you don't know everything. But we're trying to get them engaged and actually thinking about the content that they discussed in class today. So you see, it's just little things we can do already to help develop the skills. Now, the next one that goes together, so it's reading, listening, and then this one is taking notes. Now, I don't know of primary school children that even takes notes or start to take notes during the classroom. But we teach in our centers, we teach our kids as young as the 10-year-olds in grade 4 to start making basic notes. So why do we do that? Because it has great advantages. So it helps them to retain and recall the information. So now they're listening better to the teacher, and now they start to make notes on a basic level, but it gets them thinking. So because they do that, it improves their focus automatically. It also helps them to be more engaged in the classroom. And then I encourage children to start asking questions to the teacher, to not be scared to ask questions. It helps them to also start realizing during the teaching of the class what is important and what they must remember, what is important for them that may be asked in a test, and then we teach them how to make little notes of that, because we're going to take that notes then in the afternoon and transfer it to a process where we start giving them a step-by-step process to help them start with learning. So basic note-taking skills. So that's something that you can also start giving them. I know in school, just to see if I don't have a notebook here. No, I don't have a notebook here. But in most schools, children aren't allowed to make notes in the book. So I tell them to get like a separate little, like just a notepad where they start making their notes, and in the afternoon when we go to their summary books, that information is then transferred to the summary book. But note taking is a great way of getting children to be more engaged in the classroom and help them stay focused. Then the next one that children skill that they're going to need as they now go from grade 4 and onwards is problem solving skills, and what can they do to solve problems. So sometimes they've got work and that it's a problem, they have a problem but they don't know how to solve it. So this is here where we can give them a few of these strategies to solve problems. So the easiest one is if there is something, if they've got a problem or something that they have to think about or fix, is breaking the problem down in steps. And because they break it into smaller steps and manageable steps, they don't feel so overwhelmed, because that can easily become a challenge, and then they get anxious and then they just want to give up. So it's helping them to break things down in manageable chunks. And then also to think positive. So yes, when we fail, we get negative and we just want to go and sit in a corner and cry and just give up. But it's important to teach our children that they need to stay positive. And to stay positive, it's a conscious decision. So remember, I'm telling you this, they don't know that. So children don't know it's a conscious decision. We have to tell them, listen, it's a decision. You can decide to give up, or you can decide to stand up, be positive, see what you can do to solve this problem. And it's important for them to know when we make mistakes, it's then also when we grow and when we improve. Because how do we learn? We learn when we make mistakes. Isn't that true? So when we make mistakes, that is when we know how to overcome it the next time. And then ask for help. So children are scared for some or other reason to ask the teachers. I don't know why. And I know if I speak to teachers, they love it when children actually ask them questions, because it shows the teacher that the child is actually interested in the subject matter or actually listened in class, and then they feel good. So it's important for us to tell them it's okay for you to go and ask your teacher for help, or for another classmate, or for you, but it's important to ask for help. And then brainstorming. So if we need to solve a problem, now we say, okay, let's go and brainstorm. So what it is to brainstorm. So we go and sit and we're going to look at this problem, and let's just, Gordon, I always says, let's just do a huge mind dump. So everything we think about, questions we have, any ideas, any solutions, anything, you just dump it on a paper. So you write everything down, and then they can start to organize it, and then you can say, okay, the pros and the cons, and help them and show them this is how you solve a problem. And then the old one, trial and error. In business, we call it test and measure. So this is where you try something, it doesn't work, now you try something else. So because you do that, and there's different approaches, it will help you to get the best solution. So problem solving skills is something that we can we need to teach our children. And as they grow older and go into high school, they're going to need it much more. Now, the next 3 skills go actually hand in hand, and they are more of your executive functioning skills. So your brain, your critical thinking skill, analyzing information, and like time management. Children struggle with it. You know, there's lots of time before the next test, lots of time. But in their mind, because there's nothing visual for them to see, next week is very far away. But if you have like a visual that you can show them, how long, how many sleeps, how do you say it in English? Hoeveel slaapies, nee? I don't know what the English is now for that, but then they become, and they can see it visually, then they become more aware of what it is actually to manage their time effectively. So how can they do that? So to manage their time, it's important to know what their goals are. What's their goals? Not necessarily only academic. It can be sports related, or it can be for self-development. But it's important to know what their goals are so that they can know how much time they need to achieve that goal. And that's also something that we do in our courses. We've got an in-depth training about how to manage time, and we teach them about the time matrix. I don't know if those of you that know that 4 corners. So in the one corner, it is important and it must be done. The next one, it's important, it's not so urgent. And then the last one, where most kids spend their time, it's not important and it's not urgent, such as sorting out the desk where they're going to study. So that's important then for us why it's important to teach our children about time and how to use their time wisely. Because we want to help our children to understand that, yes, you can have some playtime, it's important for that, but we have to look at your whole schedule, and then we have to see, okay, where's your study time, because that's important. You can see there, plan study sessions. So studying, not homework, not school activity homework, actually studying. That time must be planned and scheduled in a scheduler daily. So we teach our children at our centers. We've got week planners, month planners, to break it up so that they can get a better idea of where's their time and how to spend their time wisely. If they do that, they will also be more in control. And if there's assignments, actually finish it on time and independently. I don't know, most of you, I think, would have maybe it happened, because I've never met a parent that has never happened before, where there's an assignment that must be handed in, and then it's suddenly tonight, it's like it must be handed in tomorrow, and everybody is like, what just happened? Why didn't we know about it sooner? And that's why we need to teach our children about time and how to schedule their time. Now, the next one, together with that, also, so it goes hand in hand with time management, is being organized. So how do we help like a 10-year-old to be, just admitting someone, how do we help a 10-year-old to be more organized? So yes, yeah, it's being organized. This is everything. My work material is neat. My study space is neat. I know what to do, but what can we do to help them further? And this is where you can bring in things like day planners and month planners, where they put in assignment that must be handed in, when is the tests, when is the exams, any extracurricular activities that they put in there, so it's visual and they can actually see it in front of them. Okay, because it's 5 blocks, 5 days, so I've got 5 days left to finish whatever I have to do. So we can, and that will keep them more organized and in control. And then, like I said, to create a study schedule, it helps immensely to be more organized in your approach to your studying. And then other one is a designated study area. So some children might sit at the kitchen or in front of the TV, in the TV room or on their bed or wherever, or they do have a space where they work, but it's so cluttered. And if it's very cluttered, it's I don't know, it's something like if it's so cluttered, the brain is also somewhere cluttered and doesn't feel organized, and you don't know what to do. And then most of them only start to rearrange and organize the desk, and they waste time doing that. So my tip here would be in the study spaces to teach them to only take out what they're going to use. So if it's natural science, only the natural science handbook and workbook, and then the pencil cases. Oh my Lord, the pencil cases, that's bigger than the children these days, with 2,000 highlighters and I don't know, 20 cokies. I don't know. It's huge pencil cases. And they waste time because they want to now make summaries and notes, and then they spend so much time deciding which color to use. So my tip is study space, take out only what you need. Take out only 1 or 2 highlighters, a pencil, only those stationery you're going to need. Put a timer on not the cell phone or something, because the cell phone must be placed in the refrigerator when they come to go to study, or in the freezer. That's better, the freezer. Put it in the freezer. If I tell that to the children, their eyes go like this big. So the phone out of sight. I'm going to study now for 20 minutes, put a timer on, and then for that time, you have water there already, a snack there already, so they can't interrupt themselves by having to go and get some water or snack. So the self-sabotage is now excluded, and then they can study for that 20 minutes and then take a break. And a break is not like a half an hour. A break is like go to the bathroom 2-3 minutes. Sorry, just somebody. Okay, Lorraine, it's fine. 2-3 minutes, and then I can come back and go and go further. So organization, and then if folders and binders, anything that you can have depending on a child to keep their work more organized, and again prioritizing the tasks. And this is what we help kids at our center with time management. What is important? What must I do today that is important and urgent, meaning it must be finished tomorrow? So I need to do that first. Something that is important and not urgent, maybe assignment, it's today, it's Tuesday, but it only needs to be handed in on Friday. If they've got too much of a workload today, they can leave that out and reschedule it for tomorrow. But we have to show our kids how to do that. So, and that will also give them a feeling of being more organized and being more in control. They don't get so overwhelmed about everything. And they don't get so anxious, especially if we can show them, let's just break everything up in chunks. Sometimes it's so much work and they feel so overwhelmed, then they don't even know where to start. So we can just give them little tips and tools of how to get more organized. Yes, and then of course, as always, if our kids do something wrong, we recognize the progress. So that's just a little bit of tips for you for that. And then critical thinking. So like I said, it's an executive function skill. Some of this skills only develops on a later age, but now, and according to what the child is exposed to. But now we have to teach them these skills, or make them aware of what it is, because they need it on a much earlier age because of workload and the level of the work they are doing. So this is the ability. I'm going to give you an example now of how does it look, but to analyze information, to solve problems, to think on their own independently, and to have inquisitive mindset and ask questioning. So how does it look if I should break down and give you an example of how is it, what is critical thinking? So say, for instance, we've got a grade 4 and they're in school, they're going to do an experiment on the water, pardon me, on the water cycle. So the first thing in the mind is that the child, or what they need, if we look at critical thinking, is they need to understand the objective of the experiment. So they need to understand it, and they need to understand also the instructions. So, then we go back to reading comprehension. So they need to understand what the objective is. And then they need to think and form a hypothesis. So this is the experiment we are going to do. I wonder what the outcome is going to be. So now they think ahead before they do the experiment. I think this is maybe what's going to happen. We're getting the thinking juices going, or what can maybe happen during the experiment. Then they have to go and they have to look at the list of what everything they need for the experiment. And then they need to think, okay, but how does everything fit together, and what role does each and every of these components play? And then they do the experiment. And while they do the experiment and they're watching, what happens now is they're observing and they're seeing, okay, this is what I thought in the beginning. Is this actually what's happening, or is something different happening? Now they are thinking about the initial objective, what the hypothesis was, and now they're going to think, okay, but after we've gathered it, what was the result? Is it the same as what I thought it was going to be, or is it different? And then they're going to draw a conclusion, and some of them can ask questions, and they might even think, okay, this is actually much similar to another experiment that we did earlier in the month or whatever. So now they connect the components together, and that's a critical mindset, thinking about things, not just going through the motions and like that, but actually thinking more about that. And that is where we must come in and play a role. I'm going to show you a super awesome website I came across that you can go and look at. I think it's going to be much fun, because our kids doesn't want to read, they don't like reading books, but we have to get them to read something or listen to something, and it must be interesting. So lots of time parents ask, but what can they read? My child hates to read. So this website is awesome, because it's also going to help them expand their interest further than just schoolwork, but into now the algemene kennis. The English word has left me now completely. But anyway, so I'm going to get to that one now. But
general knowledge.
General knowledge. Thank you. Sometimes the word just goes out and then it's gone. But so that's critical thinking. So we don't think of it that's what it is, but that's just broken down so that you can understand. And they need this as they grow older. And then they need to be able to do research for assignments. So I know when they're very young, we as parents, we help them a lot, and sometimes we do. And I was also one of those moms. Then we stand at a car and like, how much did you get for your assignment? How much did you get? And we laughed about it. But you know, at the end of the day, we didn't really help our kids because they must. We actually took a learning experience away from them by doing it for them. So I would rather later on, I actually realized it's not the right thing to do, and then started helping my daughter more and more how to do research. But it's something that we have to teach them, because if you tell them they have to do an assignment on maybe types of clouds, where must they start? What must they do? So you can take a photo, or we're going to send this in any case tomorrow, but there's a list of some kid-friendly search engines, so that they don't end up on weird places. You know, you can sometimes Google something and then there's a funny or scary stuff that opens. But so there's some kid-friendly search engines for educational purposes that they can use. But again, how do we teach them where to start? So firstly, with a research skill, it's important that they understand the assignment. Now, usually when they get assignment, it's broken up. It tells them, you know, it's the different part the assignment must consist of, how many references should there be. I know there's a thing that lots of schools, the children must sign no plagiarism. So it's important to explain also to children what that means, so they can't rewrite everything exactly the same as it's written there, because then it's a copy. And again, why is this important? So they're going to read and then they're going to form a word. So we're also going to start using their brains a little bit more than just doing the monkey see, monkey do. Right, so I need to understand the assignment. What is the assignment about? Identify keywords, and questions. They can actually do a brainstorm as well. So you can brain dump again. So what do you think would be interesting to go and look for about clouds? Oh, types of clouds. Why are they different? Do they look different? You know, brain dump that questions, helping them, because then they start to get like maybe an outline of things to look for when they do their research. So that brainstorming, mind dumping thing, it works and it helps them. And then reliable resources. So there's the internet search, but just for you, FYI, the ones that end with a edu or gov or org is usually very good resources, reliable resources with information about books and stuff to go and look at. Yes, so, and then they have to create the assignment. So they have to know there's the introduction, there's the main points, there's the conclusion, and there's the references. But it's skills that we need to show them. This is how you do research. This is how you break it down. This is how you put everything together, and then writing it over, proofreading it. So we need to teach them. This is not something they know. So we need to teach them to do research. Then digital literacy. So yeah, we live in a tech-savvy age now. Our children know more than we do with the phones and everything. I try and keep up, but I don't know. It moves too fast. When you look, there's a new thing, a bright and shiny thing out there. So, but yes, so use tools and help them, like Google, for instance, the Google Suite. It's free with the docs and the words and spreadsheets and the presentations to help them to put their assignments together. And then this is the website I was talking about. It is super cool, guys. The ed.ted.com. So just want to read here this is now from them. So that the TED Ed offers a collection of educational videos on a wide range of topics, and this videos especially is put together to enhance their general knowledge. Okay, so enhance their knowledge. improve their critical thinking and their communication skills. And you know what? It's so cool. It's like, I've written here some of the topics. Why mosquitoes bite some people more than others? I mean, come on. So who wouldn't want to know, why does the mosquito bite you and not your husband or the child? So it's something interesting. Or why do we sweat so much? You know, and it's like 5-minute little videos. So there's a video that you watch with words, so they read. So we're doing all that. Then there's a question part. So it's the watch, and then there's a thinking about it, and they ask you questions that they fill in. Then there's additional resources. So this is also where they can get great info for assignments, but there's additional resources to read up a little bit more. And then there's like a forum where people write their responses down, where they discuss them. I hope you've written this one down. Otherwise, you can just look at the video tomorrow night to get that. But this is super cool. There's, for children, for parents, for teachers, there's like millions and millions of videos. I actually can't wait to go and watch some of them. It's quite funny. Yeah, so this is the digital literacy is a skill they need. And then this one, self-motivation, and that's something that comes within. And this is why I say it's so important that we teach our child to be more inquisitive and want to learn something more about life and things other than what's only in school, or school work, because that sometimes gets boring and they not necessarily are interested in everything. So that's why this other TED Ed is so cool. Because that's something they can go and watch at. Now, communication skills. With communication, yes, they need great communication skills, written and verbal. So if they're not good at this is something that they need to work on, because they're going to need to express their ideas, and then again they need to ask questions and seek assistance. So if communication is still not well developed, that's definitely something to work on, and this is something they're going to need going as they grow older. Our kids struggle with communication skills because everything is digital these days, and they WhatsApp each other and they're talking like small, I don't know how you read some of those words. I write in full sentences if I write something. But yes, so communication is definitely something that we need to work on with our children. And then resilience, teaching them not to give up. If they struggle, they usually just want to give up. So it's very important for us as parents to tell our kids that it's important for you to bounce back. Life is not always going to be difficult. Life is not, if they experience a difficult situation, it's not always difficult. You're going to have your difficult days and you're going to have better days. But it's important for you to make that conscious decisions to stand up and go forward. But we're always there to support them. So it's not like, no man, get over it and go on. It's recognizing that they are struggling, but also then helping them to bounce back and go forward. And they have to understand that every time they fail, it's a learning, it's a opportunity for learning and improvement. Because isn't that true? When do we learn something new? Most of the times it's only when we made a mistake. So that is when we learn something. Sorry guys, I just want to we are at load shedding, so just want to look what's going on here. All right, so resilience, this is really something, especially as they grow older in high school. They're gonna have difficult days to tell them keep on keeping on. And then self-assessment, so it's also for them to become more aware of themselves, of them as a person. So what are they good in, and to recognize and tell, well, I'm good in motivating someone, or I'm good in a specific subject, or whatever. I'm good in that. What is their strengths, and what is it that they enjoy? But to verbalize it and talk and really talk about it, because it's that moment when they think, oh yeah, that's actually me. And then also to look at, okay, but what areas are there that they can still improve on? What is that they struggle with, and what can they do to improve that? And that is where we can go back to goal setting, but on a personal level, and help them set goals and steps to achieve that. And then yeah, for future goals, and that goals can be educational, personal, or sport, anything. We tend to think, when we teach our children things like goals, or like this self-awareness and communication and resilience, it always needs to be about academics. It's not, we don't need to always take it to the academics. It can be a personal goal as well. And then the last one, yes, curiosity and collaboration. So yes, hopefully that other websites, I'm so excited about that one, will help you to help your child be more curious about different topics and try to seek the knowledge on their own. They can go and sit and play around it. It's so awesome. And then, yeah, as they grow older, they're going to learn how to work in groups and group activities. And it's important for them to know there's going to be different personalities. We need to respect each other. We need to obviously have good communication, listen to other people, take what's the word? Share ideas, participate. They can break tasks. Or take turns. Yeah, so also we in our course, when I do the full day course, I show parents how to help the younger ones, especially how to do how to work in teams, because you know the ones, the kids that there's the ones that do everything, the other one that does nothing, and then there's the one that is always there, like, what can I do? But he or she wants to help, and then it's already finished, and the other one doesn't worry, because he knows that the first one is going to finish it, and then they get angry with each other but he did everything, and that one didn't do nothing, and he also get the points, and yeah, tell me nothing, I know about it. I lived through it. So, but this is something that they're going to need to do. And then the last one that they need on that list, skills that they need, is study strategy. So there's a difference between the two. So if I say, usually when I say study methods, people think summaries and memory techniques. So yes, that's the truth. So study methods and the techniques is the way to summarize, and then the different memory techniques. And then the study skills is the other skills. So this is where we do the time management, the organization, where we help them to set goals, we do planning, so where we do put everything together. So you can see that if I can go back to the first one, there's more skills needed for children to become independent, other than knowing how to learn and knowing how to study. It's part of the skills, and that is then what we do at our skills development centers. Is we do a full day course where we teach the children all those skills that we just talked about, and then afterwards they go to our centers where these skills are then enforced and practiced on a consistent base, because you have to practice it to become a habit for them. Right, so it's about 16 skills that our children need. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow when you get the email, you will get an attachment with a questionnaire where you can go and sit with your child and go through the questions to see and assess on what level, or what skills your child is good in already and what skills must still be worked on. So that's a nice little exercise that you can do with your child, and it will give you an idea of what is needed to do to help your child to become more independent learner. So what are the next steps, guys? So there you can see we are going to travel from now on. We're doing study method courses so throughout the country. So in Bloemfontein, we've got our course on next week, Saturday. Now, this is a full day course. So it's from 8 till 5 in the evening, and it's a parent and a child. I believe in parent involvement. So for me, it's like a mandatory. You don't send your child off and to go and learn something, because how are you going to support your child afterwards if you don't know what was taught? So, but there's our date. So in Bloemfontein on the 29th of July, and then the garden route, the 19th of August, we are there. So we're presenting it there. You can let us know if you are in those areas. You maybe want to join in Hillcrest. It's in Durban. And then we're in beautiful Botswana on the 23rd of September, and then the Pretoria omgewing on the 5th of August. Our study method course is also available online in Afrikaans. That one is already available and ready to go. And then we're going to finish the English one within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So if there's any English people on here and you are interested, you can just in the chat just write the English online study method course, so that when we are ready, we can email you and let you know that that is available. And then we've got Facebook communities as well. So we want to invite you to join. So we've got two. So the one is Confident Supportive Moms. So in there, we give, there's some professional people in there as well. So if you have questions related to their discipline, then they will also be able to answer and help you with your questions. We share some valuable, we give lots of free stuff in there. We notify you guys when we've got webinars or workshops or anything that we do with speakers. It's just a nice fun place to come and ask your questions and get informed and get lots of free stuff. So you can look for that one. And then if there's any grade 3 parents on here tonight, we've also got a group specifically for grade 3 parents, grade 3 parents, where we are going to do workshops now at the end of the year. Or no, in this quarter, we're going to start doing workshops where we're going to help you prepare your child to transition from grade 3 to grade 4. So that's the Facebook communities. I think we've actually got another one. I'll put it in the link. We also got one for grade R parents. So if there's any of you here, just look out for that tomorrow in the email, and you can know to go to those ones. And then if you want to have any questions for us, like I said, we are the owners of Biling Brain Training and the Study Method Hub. We've got centers all over South Africa. In our centers, we focus on developing and strengthening the cognitive and executive functioning skills of our children. So if we can strengthen that, our children can pay better attention. They can function better in school. They can listen better. They can analyze information. So we're working on root level and helping our children to actually strengthen and building this critical skills they need quicker than that's actually needed, and strengthen it for those that struggle. So we have a lot of children that has got ADHD that's also with us, but we work with each and every child. We are also working with kids that has got 80% but wants to achieve 85, because the program is totally customized, 100% customized for your child. It's individualized, and the artificial intelligence, the background, know it's your child and will challenge your child on his level, his or her level. Doesn't matter what level your child are on. And then we also have a focus assessment. Now, this is also an assessment where we measure, it's a scientific measurement of attentional control. So we can do distance testings, or you can go and do a focus assessment at one of our centers. It's such a great tool. It gives you an idea of how long your child can, not gives you an idea, it gives you the result exactly of how long your child can actually pay attention for. So it's norm reference, it's norm reference. And so we can see in an age group of 8 years old, the average time 8-year-old girls, for example, can pay attention for, say, it's 15 minutes. I'm just, don't know what the exact percentage now is, but then you can see where's your child, so that you know how to work with your child. It measures the attention, then it measures brain processing speed. And you will not believe how many children we see that looks like attention problems, looks like they've got attention problems, but they don't have attention problems. They just process information slowly. So this is where they take long to finish tasks, or they fall behind. They can't keep up. We see a lot of them struggle with maths, because maths is steps, and the teacher goes through the steps so quickly while this child is trying to figure things out in his mind. He's still in step 1, and the teacher is in step 4. So we see that, so brain processing speed. Then we measure impulsivity, and we can measure the impact that visual or auditory distractions has on your child. And this is a very great report, because it knows, it's a starting point to know how to help your child. Even if we, at our center, if we know this child struggle with visual things and auditory things, we know where to put the child. We know if he's a slow processor, to explain more, to repeat ourselves more. If a child only can pay attention for 5 minutes, to break things up, and start working with a child on that level. So that's also something that we do. So if that's something that you are interested, you can go to our website to look for an agent in your area. Otherwise, if you are interested in doing an online assessment, if there's no one in your area, you can also in the chat maybe just put in the online focus assessment, and we can reach out and talk to you about how we do it. All right, guys, are there any questions? Let me just see if there are any questions. Okay, I've just added something. So yeah, as you can see, for our kids, it's not just one skill. It's not only the skill of knowing how to learn and remember. It's so much more that we need to work on and help our kids develop. All right, so if there's no more questions, then I'm going to say good evening to you guys. It's nice and cold in Bloemfontein. I had load shedding. I'm on time. It's a pleasure. By a donkey, Fynbos. I don't know who's Fynbos. It's our pleasure. You were here last night as well. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to say goodbye. You can by tomorrow afternoon you'll get the recording and also the questionnaire that you can do with your child. All right, and then let us know if you've got any questions. Karen and I are always here to help, and you guys should have a wonderful evening. Okay, guys, bye-bye.